one of the biggest challenges us sports card investors and flippers face is finding deals on cards. And when we can't find good deals, we either sit on the sideline and miss out on golden opportunities, or what's even worse is that we overpay for cards, which is just super dangerous from an investing standpoint. So in this video, I'm sharing with you my exact process for finding buy low opportunities from $5 raw cards on COMC all the way up to $1,000 graded cards on eBay based on my investing style and philosophy. So with that being said, welcome back. Now let's get to work. All right, first, before we dive in, it is important that I acknowledge that there are a lot of successful investing and flipping strategies out there, especially as money has been flooding in. So what I'm about to share with you is based on my conservative approach, which is evolving constantly as the market evolves as well. So let's get started with the low end stuff. And if you are new to sports cards, I would highly recommend starting small so you can make all the mistakes you're going to make on low end cards versus $1,000 cards. And trust me, you are going to make many mistakes. We all do. Now, the two sites that are perfect for this are StarStock and COMC. And if you've been a part of this community for a while, you know that COMC has been my playground for the last year. So this is the way I approach it. For one, before I even get started on any platform, I think of what's happening in the next 3 to 6 months. The further out the event is, the better deals I typically find. The closer to the date of the event, the closer we are to that cliff. So right now, for example, in May, I've been buying up a lot of football cards on COMC because I know there aren't nearly as many buyers interested in football cards now this early as there will be in a couple months' time. And I know that there are some sellers willing to take less money now than wait 3 more months for a bigger return. I'll also start with the players that interest me the most. And a lot of times these are players that I will hear being mentioned over and over again from numerous bloggers and sports experts and podcasters and YouTubers. And the reason that I defer to the opinions on the experts is that they watch way more sports than me. And I know that my only in-depth knowledge is on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. And second of all, just them having a popular blog or sports show can generate hype around that player, which could lead to more demand just from the hype. So once I generate this list of target players, I'm now ready to see what deals are out there. Heading on over to COMC, what I will do is look up that player and filter out 99% of cards. And that's because I want to see the cards that I know others will value. And that's because I'm a huge fan of reverse engineering everything to get the results that I want. So I usually just enter rookie year on the left, and then I want to sort by highest percentage off. And what I'm doing is seeing if there's a popular card that others will value currently on sale. I don't want to get involved in other cards that don't have a track record yet. For example, I was buying second year Lamar Jackson and Dak Prescott cards a couple months ago. And while these cards could actually turn out to be a decent investment down the road, neither of their legacies have reached a point where a second year card is very desirable. On the other hand though, I bought several second year Anthony Davis and Damian Lillard Prism cards, and I feel very confident in those investments since those cards have spiked already in the past and they have been around long enough for me to feel good about them spiking again in the future, whether it's 6 months or a year or 2 years from now. Now, what I like about COMC is that you can check out each card's sales history to get an idea of what the highest sale has been. But more importantly, I love reading the bar chart because it shows how many sales take place by quarter, which then tells me when people are typically looking to buy the card, which is when I would have a good likelihood of selling it. Now, to be honest, COMC sales data is very simple and I would only use it for lower end raw cards and not the big stuff. But once I have the rookie year selected, I sort by highest percentage off on the top right to see what could be on sale. And then I look for a couple specific sets, and that is Select, Optic, Prism, Donruss Paper, and Hoops. And really that's about it because I've had a tough time moving the other sets. When I search and see that there's a card in great shape that is way less than the highest previous sales price, and I believe that that card will get close to that price point again, then I'll take a look at the other sellers to see how many of that card is listed and what others are selling for. If their prices are way higher than what I would be paying for it, then there's actually a decent chance I can scoop up the cheap one and then relist it at a price that is still less than theirs and make a profit without waiting for several other sellers to sell their card. One of my best examples of this were the handful of Nikola Jokic Prism rookie cards I bought last year for $40 to $50 because even though Jokic had a breakout year this year, I was buying those cards at a price that was so much less than what other sellers had theirs listed at that even if he had just played decent, I probably still would have made about $30 profit per card. Instead, he's had a monster year and I've made a good $50 to $150 profit per card. The other huge factor in all of this is trying to figure out how many of these cards are just waiting to be uploaded into COMC's system. We all know that demand is tough enough to predict, but supply is really a challenge, especially with new product, and that is why I'm focusing on sets that are 2018 or older, because I know that the vast majority of these cards have been ripped and are in circulation. But with 2019 and 2020 cards, I'm very hesitant to buy anything for more than just a couple bucks because I know that there are dozens, if not hundreds of these exact cards making its way to COMC's system. And I don't want to pay a premium for something that I think is scarce, but actually isn't. Getting back to finding deals, another way I love sourcing deals on COMC is by seller. Let's say you find someone selling a card you really like for a low price. The next thing I like to do is search their entire inventory for deals because there's a good chance that they are motivated sellers willing to take less money to move their stuff now. In fact, the seller that I bought the Jokic Prism rookie cards from is the same seller that I bought a ton of the second year Prism ADs and Lillards from for $10 to $20 each. So just always keep that in your back pocket. The last major element I use on COMC to find deals are offers. And yes, I am that a-hole that puts in lowball offers. If you have a problem with it, go to your settings and adjust your threshold. I have mine set at like 98% or something like that. But the whole goal of me putting in offers is to get the card at a price that makes me feel comfortable with the level of risk associated with it. In many cases, I'll buy a card for full asking price if the seller doesn't accept offers, or if I feel someone would swoop in and get the deal before me because the price is already very appealing. The point though is that as a collector, you chase the card, but as a flipper, you're chasing the deal. And the further ahead of an event we are, the more likely a lowball offer will actually be accepted. All right, moving on to the expensive stuff, and the vast majority of my investments have been made on eBay, and that is simply because eBay has the most inventory. But here's the crazy thing. The way I find deals on eBay is pretty much the exact same way I do on COMC. I want to see what's currently on sale, but should go up in the next couple of months. And there are several tools out there that chart sales history. So use whatever one works for you. But the one that mimics COMC's set of filters the most is Market Movers, and that's what I've been using since I started investing in graded cards last year. And so the way I use it is I simply look up what has dropped the most in the last 30 days to get an idea of overall trends, like if mostly modern is falling or mostly vintage, or a specific sport is falling more than another, or a certain player more than another. And then what I do is I go to what has dropped the most in the last 60 days. And the reason for that is that 60 days is usually enough time for prices to start stabilizing again. So you get an idea of what the new baseline price of a card is. And I know I've mentioned this example numerous times already, but one of the best examples of using this was late last fall when I was putting together my newsletter. I noticed that 2014 Prism Messi and Ronaldo PSA 9 cards were still hovering around $120 without going below that number for weeks and weeks. That's when I went in on 17 of these cards because I felt like that was going to be the absolute lowest they would go in this current state of the market. But here's the important thing. The only way I even discovered this opportunity was because of the way I reverse engineered it. I wasn't searching out these specific cards. I had no idea they even existed. I was just looking for graded cards in other sports that had dropped the most. And from there, I picked out the players and cards that intrigued me the most based on the upside I felt the players and the cards had in the coming months. The other reason why I like to reverse engineer deals based on what has fallen is because I never want to assume that a new record price will ever be reached. I want to feel good that if no new money enters the market, I would have a sound strategy to sell at a profit when the player becomes relevant again, versus buying at a record high and assuming new money coming in will pay even more for it, or I'll need that player to win MVP and a championship in order to make a profit. Now that's how I filter through the cards I want to target. However, when it comes to buying on eBay, I do a few things, but it's really nothing too advanced. The first thing I'll do is I'll set up a saved search, and the grades I usually include are PSA 9, PSA 10, BGS 9.5, and SGC 10. And that's because sometimes there'll be a great deal on an SGC 10 or a BGS 9.5 because everyone is focused on the PSA 9 and 10. And for me, if I can get a BGS 9.5 or a SGC 10 for a similar price as a PSA 9, I think that that is the better deal. I'll also put in offers even when sellers don't have the accepting best offer option on their listing. What I'll do is I'll write a polite message asking if the seller would accept a certain price, and I'll wish them a great week. But I definitely don't write, "Yo, what's the lowest you'll take?" Or "I'll give you 60 bucks right now," or "Pound that freaking like button." Personally, when I get those types of messages, I just ignore them. But there have been a couple occasions where I've gotten the seller to send me a private offer at the price that I had requested because I messaged them and I was warm and thoughtful in my message. So let's try it out right now. Hey there, friend. You know what would make my entire day is if you click that thumbs up on this video. I would truly, truly, truly appreciate it. Hopefully that worked. I also use prior eBay sales as leverage at local shows. So if you know what the last few sales are and the trajectory of the sales, if it's trending up or trending down, then you can negotiate a fair price at your local card show or maybe at your local card shop. But if you're still having trouble understanding what a deal actually is, I'd recommend a few things. And the first thing is digging into the data to see where a card's value has been in the past, so you have a reference point and you start getting a sense of human behavior. And secondly, to start formulating your own investing philosophy so you have a set of principles to follow to make it a lot easier. And for me, my pillars are buying early if prices are low, studying prior sales data to support every investment decision, weighing the downside of a player and card even heavier than the upside to stay conservative, diversifying between multiple players and sports, using logic over emotion, and always learning and evolving. And if you'd like to get a list of the sports cards that have dropped the most over the past couple of months and my thoughts on them as potential investments, then you could sign up for my weekly newsletter at thecomebackcardinvestor.com. And if you'd like to learn how to spot deals on the other platform I briefly mentioned, which is StarStock, which is a great platform for day trading cards of mostly active players, then check out this video up here done by my best friend Andy, aka the Fantasy Football Card Quest. He is an expert at finding deals on StarStock. So enjoy that video and I'll see y'all next time.